And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for June the 3rd. Day 155 of the year, and we now have 2 tropical storms that were depressions at this time yesterday, bumping up the number this year so far to 28. Cristobal in the west, Nisarga in the east, both threats to land. On day 3 of Atlantic hurricane season, Tropical Storm Cristobal is gradually picking up pace, although not in that sense. It's intensifying slightly, and a 10% chance near the Azores that probably won't amount to much. Day 20 of the Eastern Pacific hurricane season, no systems active here right now, so we are still at 28 storms, 11 hurricanes and 5 majors across the world. Nisarga is just west of Mumbai right now and will be making landfall in that region of India. We would imagine in the next 12 to 24 hours, the remnants of 92A also persisting over Yemen now. No systems active in the southern hemisphere, all quiet as you'd expect, although not fully, because our animations for the southern hemisphere will be coming out in the next few days and weeks. Here is Cristobal right now. We're putting it at 45 miles an hour, pressure of 1002 millibars, 46 miles from Isla del Carmen, 19.3 north, 92 degrees west. We expect the storm will make landfall near 45 or 50 miles an hour, weaken to a depression, then move back out over the Bay of Campeche and become a tropical storm again, and then head towards the US. This is very similar to the National Hurricane Center's forecast cone, a little bit different in some areas there. By hour 120, it's near Louisiana. So this is a look at the North Atlantic right now. You can see that small system up there has an outside chance of becoming a subtropical cyclone, but you can see it up there. It's probably going to remain extratropical for its whole life, but we thought we'd tag it just in case. Cristobal obviously not difficult to miss, not difficult to see I should say. Very difficult to miss. You can see it on that imagery there, and there's an more outward glance at it as we look at the rest of the Eastern Pacific, which is somewhat quiet. There's a few little disturbances trying to get on their feet, but nothing really going on at all. So Cristobal dominates that area. You can see it there in the whole entire Gulf, and that will continue for several days yet. And its influence extends even into the East Pac there. In the Western Pacific, things remaining extremely quiet here. You can see a small little disturbance down there in the deep tropics, and what's left of what's nothing really, just a tiny little swirl just off the coast of Luzon in the Philippines, still persisting and moving towards the west-northwest with some very scattered thunderstorm activity, but nothing doing with that one. The South Pacific, there's a tiny little glimmer there in the Coral Sea, which will certainly get our team member David's eyebrows up, but that's not going to become anything. Nisarga there, you can see most of the storm remaining just off the coast, most of the moisture that's moving inland dispersing very quickly indeed, as the precipitable forecasts were projecting, but there could still be some life-threatening rainfalls over the Mumbai area and the wider region. This is the sea surface temperatures, piping hot in the East Pac, ready for that train that we usually get in June or July of tropical cyclones, 30 degrees plus. The Gulf of Mexico very warm, Western Caribbean also 28 degrees or higher. The North Indian Ocean piping hot here as well, where that other cyclone is 30 degrees, pushing 31 even in the Arabian Sea. Same too in the Philippines region, possibly even touching 32 degrees in the South China Sea. The rest of the main development region of the West Pac looking fairly warm, 28 degrees at a minimum. Sea surface temperature anomalies, you can see they're running a little warm in the Western Pacific and a little cold in the Eastern Pacific. Signs of a potential La Nina, if not one already. So a better look here at Cristobal with the latest floater imagery on the geocolor, and you can see how the rotation's been increasing, and the storm itself I think has been looking much better throughout the course of today. Recon flying in and out of it. It was named much earlier on in the day, earlier this, I think it was still in the morning, if not early afternoon, and you can see there drawing ever nearer to land, and I think you might be able to see it better on the infrared here. It covers a longer time period as well. You can see there the convection, which we assume is pretty much over the center of this cyclone, is deviating towards the south, maybe south-southeast now, and it looks like it could make a landfall on Isla del Carmen and possibly then move inland a little bit. But interestingly, that particular area has that little bay there that goes inwards, so very interesting to see if the storm takes that little bit more of an advantage over that extra tiny little portion of sea area. This is what the models are saying. You can see there generally all saying tropical storm status. Wind shear is going to be low to moderate throughout the whole duration of this storm. What will really happen is it moves into land, it will kill it not kill it fully, but it will really struggle to get itself back together, and it will be an enormous storm as it moves towards the north through the Gulf. That's what most of the models are suggesting. There's the HWRF. You can see there, even though it doesn't become a hurricane, tropical storm conditions from Houston almost all the way to New Orleans. Looking at the Indian cyclone there, that's a landfall very soon indeed, with winds of around 100 kilometers per hour, maybe pushing a little bit higher. On June the 3rd, 1968, we had two significant cyclones active. Hurricane Abby was passing Cuba on its way to Florida, and Typhoon Kim was a Category 3 out at sea over there in the Philippine Sea in the Western Pacific. And it stopped spinning for some reason, but there we go. So back to today. The next name on the Atlantic naming list is Dolly. In the Eastern Pacific, we're looking out for Boris. In the Central Pacific, the next name on that list is Hone. Moving on to the Western Pacific, Nuri is next up there. In the North Indian Ocean now, the next name on the list is Gati on list 1. We've had 28 storms so far this year. The average from 1959 to 2019 is 92 per year. In the Australian region, the next name is Imogen. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, the season will flip names. There'll be a new set of names starting on July 1st. Kundai would be next if we did get that one. And in Fiji, next is Yolanda. Check out our new look cyclone tracker on the Force 13 website for the latest up-to-date information. You can also find us, of course, on our YouTube channel, search Force 13, and also on Facebook and Twitter, Force 13 at Force 13 on Twitter for the latest updates. You can also help the project become even better by becoming an Ultimate Fan on YouTube. To see the full list of Ultimate Fan benefits and to join, visit youtube.com/Force13/join. With a special thanks to our top supporters this month. You can also check out our growing merch store so you can show Force 13's colours wherever you go. You can also find a link to our Discord server underneath this video in the description.